Yes, hello and welcome. It is our Thoughtful Thursday Roundtable discussion. My name is E.R. Wolf with Elify, and I'm super excited. This is our first one of the new year. If you're joining us, we typically go through a topic, and then for those who've joined us live, we go through a roundtable discussion about that topic for the benefit of everybody who joined us on the live Zoom. Today's topic for Thoughtful Thursday, since everybody's kicked off 2023, a lot of us kicked off the year with our resolutions and what we want to accomplish and our goals for 2023. And the reality is, a majority of people who've done that are going to drop out of doing that by the end of January. And what we do not want to see happen is for us to drop out of working towards our goals, accomplishing our resolutions, doing those types of things. So I want to talk briefly about that. One of the things that I think is very important is the systems and the processes that you implement and the actions to accomplish your goal, and making sure that you don't fall victim to some of the traps. So I'm going to give a quick overview of this, and then we're going to end this live stream and we'll jump into the roundtable and have a discussion as a community. If you want to join that, feel free to join the live Zoom so that you can stick in and contribute to the conversation once this little live stream blip ends. But the first thing I want to talk about is a trap that a lot of people get in. They start January 1st, they come out of the gate strong, they start doing whatever repetitive action or activity is going to be required in order to accomplish their goal. And then something happens, life happens, something outside of their control happens. They skip a day or miss a day in that action or that activity. And then they feel like, I'm a failure, I'm not perfect, and therefore, why even continue on? And the reality is that every day is a new day. So even when you fall off the horse, it's important to get back on the next day. There's an old saying in entrepreneurship, it's okay to fire yourself every single day as an entrepreneur, as long as you're willing to get up and hire yourself the next day. And that's so true. So in an effort to avoid this trap, one of the things that I like to do when January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd rolls around is intentionally mess up on my system or my process, intentionally not be perfect in that process, to overcome that hurdle of saying, I've got to have the next 365 days in a row be perfect on accomplishing this resolution. So if your goal is to, maybe it's a health related or physical activity related goal, it's to lose 20 pounds. And you say, okay, in order to accomplish that, I've got to wake up in the morning and work out every single day, 7 days a week. The moment that you miss your Tuesday workout or your Wednesday workout, you start to say, oh, I failed already. And the reality is you haven't been consistent enough to either fail or be successful. So intentionally skip a day, miss a day, eat wrong a day, give yourself some flexibility, because the reality is if you're just consistent about 60% of the time, not 100% of the time, you're still going to make a massive amount of forward progress in achieving that goal. Second tip, not just being perfect, but having the confidence level that you need to have in order to accomplish the activity or implement the system or process that you've decided to take on. A good example of this, if I said my goal is to meet 1,000 people this year, right? And I think that's going to implement or impact my business, impact my life, impact a bunch of things. I see the value in meeting 1,000 people. My goal is not to do that all in one day, right? Because my confidence level is not a 10 out of 10 or even a 9 out of 10 of saying, I'm going to meet 1,000 people today, right? In fact, when I break that goal down, it's like 3 or 4 people a day. And on some days I might meet zero, absolute no new relationships. And on other days, like last night, I was at a networking event and I met 30 people, right? So again, I'm looking at what is my confidence level in the actions or activities, the system or process that I'm implementing, and how confident am I in my ability to implement that activity? And the reality is, if you are not a 9 out of 10, and I would even argue if you're not a 10 out of 10, on confidence level, you need to break the activity down to something that is a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. In fact, if I asked you the question, your goal is to call 5 people today as part of your business, and your confidence level in calling 5 people is an 8 out of 10, I would argue that that's not confident enough, right? That you're going to get to 3 calls and you probably miss the other 2. And then because you didn't do 5, you're going to give up on the goal over time. If you said, okay, right now, I know I'm confident that I can call 1 person and I can be consistent. I'm so confident I can call 1 person today. That's a 10 out of 10. Start there. Why? As you continue to go down the path of action, you're going to realize that you can adjust your process or your system. That the 1 call a day that you're a 10 out of 10, the momentum builds and it becomes a 2 people, a 3 people. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you're calling 5 people a day, which was the original goal. And your confidence level is at a 10 out of 10 to call those 5 people, even though you started at 1. It might take you a week to work up there. It might take you a month to work up there. It might take you the first quarter of the year to work up to there. But then you're there. What you're going to realize is that you can surpass that goal. Now you're doing 5 out of 5 and the momentum is building and it turns into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And before you know it, you're looking back saying, man, I blew that goal out of the water. But if I had started at this at the start, I would have burned out or churned out or given up. So a very powerful mechanism is making sure that the actions that you're taking, you're a 9 or 10 confidence level. And if you can't answer that question with a 10 out of 10, in my opinion, you need to break it down to something smaller, right? If my goal is to run a mile every day and I can't get off the couch and walk, then my confidence level of running a mile every day is a 3 out of 10. I don't care how fired up I get, I'm going to not achieve that over time. But if I say, look, I can get up off the couch and walk around the couch and I'm a 10 out of 10 confidence level, I can do that. Then after you've done that for 10, 20, 30 days in a row, you're going to say, well, wait a second, maybe I should open the front door and go walk to the mailbox. You start doing that every day. Then it's walk around the block. Then all of a sudden you look back and you're walking 1, 2, 3 miles a day. Again, it builds over time because you set the expectation to something that you are 100% confident, or at least at a minimum 90% confident that you can achieve. And that brings me to my last little tip or point about continuing to achieve our goals throughout all of 2023, not just through January or even the first 2 weeks of January, like a lot of people will do and then churn out from. It's be willing to adjust and optimize your system or your process, right? Again, if I say I'm a 10 out of 10 confidence level that I can call 1 person today, but my true big, hairy, audacious goal is 10 people a day, I have to adjust that system or process over time. And it's based on the validation and the momentum that gets built through repetition. So, again, the system or the process, I'm going to give you a quick, easy, simple example. I use the same process when I make coffee every morning, right? I know how much I fill up the water. I know how many scoops of sweetener I use. I know how much creamer I use. And it is the process. I've dialed it in. It's been the same for a long period of time. It has become a habitual process. Now I'm optimizing. If I say, well, that creamer I put in, I'm putting in too much. Maybe I just need to adjust that down from 3 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons. I'm confident that I can do that. All I'm doing is dialing in my systems or processes over time. So hopefully this helps you in accomplishing and sticking with your goals, resolutions, and New Year's objectives, not just for January, not just through February or Q1, but all the way through all 4 quarters of 2023 and beyond.